So I'm a conditioning guy, right? A lot of people have been asking me, how much cardio should you do each week? The simple answer is, if it's shorter, more intense, more fatigue producing sessions, then 1 to 3 will probably do the trick. So like if you're doing hill sprints or something like that. If you're going to be doing like longer, easier sessions like a zone 2 or just incline walking on the treadmill, something like that, then 3 to 5. Really, you should be walking at least 9,000 or so steps every day. But as far as like dedicated cardio, like I said, the easier stuff, 3 to 5, the harder stuff, 1 to 3. If you're interested for more on this topic, check out my YouTube channel where I'm going to do a longer video on this and explain some more things in greater detail. Stay in the fight. Still here? Cool. All right, so to go into more detail, all right, what we need to talk about here when we talk about how much cardio should we be doing, I want to talk first on this short that I saw the other day that popped up in my YouTube feed, okay? And it was Derek from More Plates, More Dates, and he was on like some random podcast, I don't know who, something I don't watch. And the guy was like, I don't understand, I work out 5 times a week and I'm not losing weight. And then Derek was like, what do you do? And the first thing he started off with was he's like, well, I do 20 minutes of cardio and then blah, 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 blah. All right. So let's just stop right there and cut that piece out. Okay. So he says he's doing 20 minutes of cardio. First of all, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume by, yes, judging the guy, looking at him, that 20 minutes of cardio means at best he's probably jogging on a treadmill at maybe like a 10-15 minute mile pace. At worst, he's probably just walking on an incline, right? Here's the reason why he's not seeing the desired results. In this particular case, a reduction in adiposity, a fat burning effect from that cardio. The concept of raw stimulus magnitude, okay? Now, we use this concept a lot when we talk about strength training and muscle hypertrophy, right? Meaning that all these processes are signals, right? We need to send a loud enough signal to trigger the response that we want. So if we're only going to provide 20 minutes of that particular activity, if it's not sufficiently intense, it doesn't have a robust enough signal to give us a training effect. Those 20 minutes of walking on the treadmill, yeah, you're burning calories, you're expending energy, but it's not providing a training effect like, say, 20 minutes of hard sprinting would do. If you're gonna spend 20 minutes just to burn 200-300 calories, you might as well just not eat, for instance, 2 slices of bread, and you just haven't consumed those 200-300 calories, but you have 20 more minutes of your life back, which is far more valuable than 200-300 calories. You see what I'm saying? If you're going to invest your time in exercise, then think about what training effect that you want and how much time you're willing to spend, and then that should dictate the intensity at which you train. So, for instance, if you only have 20 minutes to train, but you want a really robust training effect from those 20 minutes, and we're talking about cardio, sprint, pull a sled, add load. Now, conversely, you might not want to, redline your engine every time you train. You might want to, take an easy day, or you might want to do something that you can just do consistently that's recoverable. Like, this is the method that I prefer, right? I do zone 2 training relatively high because of my fitness level, but it's still within that, I can talk and hold a conversation while breathing heavy level of intensity. If you're going to train like that, to get a training effect, 20 minutes ain't going to cut it. You have to train for a lot longer. So I just get up earlier so I have the time to invest 45 minutes an hour into that style of training because it's recoverable. I can do it day to day to day. Whereas if I did hill sprints as hard as I could once or twice a week, and I'd be cooked, I'd be done. So you have to think about, okay, I want this response, I need to send this signal. How bright does the signal need to be? And how long does the signal need to be on at that level of brightness to get this training effect? So when people say, I do cardio, what does that mean? It's no different than if somebody says, I do weights for 20 minutes. What does doing weights mean, right? Are we talking compound movements, isolation? Are we doing circuits? Are we doing a split? Are we doing, Olympic lifts? Are we powerlifting? Like, what are we doing? Kettlebells? What does weights mean, right? So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, folks, is when you ask questions like, how much cardio should I be doing? Ask yourself first, what training effect are you trying to get, right? Or are you even trying to get a training effect? Are you just trying to play the energy balance game and, expend some calories? Well, I mean, if that's the case, then there are things that can burn a lot more calories a lot faster, or you could just eat less of things that you don't need to be eating, right? You can play that game with a much lower time commitment and the same ROI, right? So there's a lot of different ways we can slice this. Like I said earlier in the short, if you're gonna do shorter, more intense sessions, you probably need less of them because you're going to get a more robust training effect, and it's gonna take a little bit more recovery in order to be ready to do it again. So, if you're doing something like hill sprints, you probably don't want to do them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You probably want to do them more like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Tuesday, Thursday, something like that, right? So 1 to 3 times a week is probably a good general number to start with, and then you can add to, take away from, see how you feel. Then, if we're going the other end of the spectrum and we're talking about like low intensity or moderate intensity, zone 2 and below, rucks, long rows, relaxed stroke swimming, things like that, you're gonna have to do that for a long time. 30, 45 plus minutes. More like 45 minutes to an hour is generally the sweet spot for something like that to get a training effect beyond just burning calories. And with those longer durations of training, those generally don't impact your recovery nearly as badly as the shorter, faster ones do. So 1 to 3 on the intense side, 3 to 5 on the lower, longer duration side. Of course, you can do anything as much as you want, as long as you can recover from it. I prefer to do conditioning every day, but that's just me. I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone. However, I do recommend that everyone walks every day, at least 9,000, 10,000 steps. That's roughly 4-ish miles cumulatively throughout the day. But that is independent. My recommendation of that is independent from any formalized cardio that you have in your training program. So that's my answer to the how much cardio you should be doing per week. Stay in the fight.